He bought a lottery ticket for my in-laws, but accidentally entered two numbers incorrectly. My in-laws called me a jinx, saying he had ruined the family's chance to get my husband even pushed me down the stairs, causing me to break my leg. But the next day, at the lottery drawing, the ticket he had bought with the wrong numbers actually won the $10 million grand prize. They collected the huge prize money, but felt no more guilt towards me. They threw me into the basement to fend for myself. Who would have known that the next day, a terrifying ice age apocalypse would arrive? The entire world was frozen for 3 consecutive months. He froze to death in the basement. When he opened my eyes, he had been reborn at the moment he was buying a lottery ticket. He will eat hot pot and he didn't cook. And he watched them freeze to death, bit by bit. Excuse me, miss. He made a mistake and he entered one of the numbers on your lottery ticket incorrectly. The lottery shop owner sighed to me apologetically. He held the lottery ticket in my hand. A wave of unbelievable chill washing over me. Even though it was the middle of a scorching summer, waves of cold. It was the pain from my past life, etched into my very bones. Believe it. He had actually been reborn. In the family group chat, my father-in-law, mother-in-law, and my husband were constantly sending messages urging me to buy the lottery ticket. My father-in-law was very impatient. You money-losing You can't baggage. Even give me a grandson. Hurry up and buy the lottery ticket. Don't delay my winning the grand prize. My husband's tone was even harsher. You old hag. You've been out for so long. You're not fooling around outside. Are you? My mother-in-law was also scolding me. You useless thing. Don't forget to buy groceries on your way back. Are you trying to starve us to death? Looking at the family group chat, a surge of anger rose within me. At this moment, the global ice age apocalypse was less than a week away. This time, he will have my revenge. He will make sure they die a horrible death. He sighed to the lottery shop owner. Sir, it's okay that you made a mistake. I'll take the wrong one too. I'll give you more money. And you can print me another one with the correct numbers. The correct lottery ticket would go to my in-laws. The wrong one, which would win the grand prize, would be mine. He took the 2 lottery tickets. And out of habit, he went to the market to buy groceries. He cooked for those wicked people, but this time, he didn't buy any food that could be stored for a long time. Instead, he specifically chose the cheapest, most perishable items. After all, they wouldn't be eating for much longer. When he got home, my father-in-law was in the study, researching the numbers for the next lottery. My husband was on the couch, playing on his phone, chatting with other women. My mother-in-law was busy filling with her gold and silver jewelry. She always felt that money would depreciate, and that this jewelry was the most reliable asset. Her entire retirement pension was spent on buying these trinkets, but she didn't know that when the apocalypse arrived, only food would be the most precious thing. After he entered the house, my mother-in-law quickly put down her pendant, and he hastily put it away, as if she was afraid he would snatch it. Why are you back so late? Were you really out fooling around? When my husband heard this, he immediately kicked me. You dare to fool around? I'll kill you. He endured the pain and he handed the lottery ticket to my father-in-law. I've bought the lottery ticket you wanted. My father-in-law glanced at the lottery ticket, and he checked the numbers. He found that they were the correct numbers he had sent me earlier. He nodded in satisfaction. You money-losing baggage. This is the only thing you're good for. Then he turned around and he continued to study his lottery tickets. When my mother-in-law saw the groceries he bought, many of which were not so fresh fruits and vegetables that wouldn't last more than a few days, she started scolding me again. You're so Why stupid. Did you buy these rotten vegetable leaves? Sir was asali at the market today. These vegetables were very cheap. Half of them were free. When my mother-in-law heard this, she was finally satisfied. She threw the vegetables at me. What are you standing, sir, for? Hurry up and cook. He wished he could put some poison in the food. And he let them die. But he had to endure, because letting them die a quick death would be too easy for them. For wicked people like them, only slow torture would make them remember the pain. The next day, as expected, the lottery ticket he had hidden won the 25 million grand prize after taxes. A full 20 million. My father-in-law's lottery ticket didn't win. He was so angry he threw things around the house, finding fault with everything, saying that he must have been tainted by my bad luck. He didn't say much. While he was out buying groceries, he went straight to the lottery center. He wore glasses, a mask, and a hat, and he collected the 20 million prize money after taxes. He immediately donated 2 million, deposited 9 million in cash, and he had the bank handle the other 9 million. Of the cash, 5 million was exchanged for gold bars from the bank. With the remaining 4 million, he had to quickly build a doomsday-proof safe house to use as a shelter because the Great Ice Age was coming. In just 5 days, experts analyzed that this phenomenon would last for at least 3 months. By then, more than half of the creatures on Earth would be extinct, and he had to find a way to survive this disaster. As for the location of the safe house, he chose the basement where he froze to death in my previous life. It was a semi-basement, a 3-bedroom, 2-living room apartment, which was a low-priced gift when we bought the house. He had originally planned to rent it out after buying it, but the real estate market has been sluggish in recent years, so the house has been vacant. It was because of the semi-basement apartment that my in-laws called me a money-losing baggage, but soon, he would let them know. who the real money loser was. The basement was nearly 200 square meters. If he utilized it well, it would be enough for me to survive. He contacted a security material and renovation company. And told them he was starting a business. And he needed to turn the basement into a warehouse that was moisture-proof, waterproof, and also temperature-controlled. All the materials had to be top of the line. Fireproof, and theft-proof, and bomb-proof. It also needed a brand new ventilation, sanitation, and heating system. The renovation company manager thought it was strange. And decided he needed time to gather resources. But when he threw $2 million in cash in front of them, his eyes widened. Sister, you should have said you had money earlier. Never mind building a top-tier industrial greenhouse. Even if you wanted to build a space station, it would be no more problem. He was very satisfied. He paid us a $2 million deposit fast. I'm in a hurry to use it for my business. If you can finish the work ahead of schedule, while maintaining confidentiality, not only pay the remaining $7 million every day you finish early, you will pay an extra ke 100,000. Sister, no more problem. Even if you want the stars, I'll pack them down for you. The boss saw so much money, he was already lost in it. And he wanted to call the entire company to work on it. Actually, he could have chosen a better house, like a villa or a penthouse. But he died in this house in my previous life. He had an obsession in my head. This time, he must come live in this house. Life. He want to see the group of people get what they deserve. The power of money is indeed invincible. Driven by this superpower, the renovation work, which originally would have taken 3 days to complete, was actually completed smoothly in 2 days. He looked at this fortress-like house, feeling very emotional. There were several air conditioners, refrigerators, stoves, and a ventilation system. There were even more than a dozen silent generators. He was satisfied and he paid the final payment and the bonus. After arranging for the security company's construction, he went to the wholesale market because he needed to buy a large amount of supplies and food. Going to the supermarket would definitely attract attention. So he found a department store wholesaler, and he told him that he was opening a food supermarket in the community, and he needed to stock up on a large amount of supplies. Mainly food. He gave him 3 days to prepare the goods. And he also promised that, if he could finish early, he would reward him with 100,000 for each day he finished early. The boss was very happy to see how generous he was, and he acted as my agent, ordering all the supplies for me. In less than 2 days, they had prepared all the supplies, and he delivered them directly to the basement late at night after the wholesaler left. He checked the ordered items. Not a single thing was missing. Because it was a large order, the boss even threw in a lot of extra goodies. He counted. There were hundreds of pounds of rice, flour, hundreds of pounds of vegetables and meat, including beef and lamb. There was a refrigerator in the room, so when the ice age arrived, he wouldn't have to worry about freezing things, considering the heating problem after the freeze. Besides the generator, he also bought a lot of soft, comfortable quilts and imitation products. There were also more than a dozen sets of space-grade protective suits and down jackets that could withstand a severe cold of -100 in the ice and the snow world. He didn't have to worry about getting water, but he still stored half a room of purified water. In addition, frozen food, self-heating rice, and the hot pot were also essential. The colder it got in winter, the better it was to eat hot food. He also bought a lot of snacks. He would be staying in the insulated room for more than a month. Food, clothing, but he still needed toys to pass the time. Were all taken he also stocked up on some game consoles. Then he rushed to the mall, and he bought some high-end cosmetics and the beautiful jewelry. Even during the Ice Age, he had to be a delicate piggy girl. After all this was taken care of, he went to the pharmacy, and he prepared all kinds of conventional medicines for myself. Because after the end of the world, many people would be frostbitten, and he would need a lot of medicine. He could help others then. The supplies he prepared would last not just for 3 months, but for a year and a half. He secretly built my own safe house while dealing with my in-laws. On a third day, the temperature suddenly dropped from over 30 degrees to the teens. Summer turned into autumn. At first, no one paid much attention. The daytime suddenly became dark, and the temperature dropped to near freezing. It even started to snow lightly. It was like snow in June. People were in a panic. The Meteorological Bureau couldn't find a reason for it. Then, prices skyrocketed. Every time he went to buy groceries, he came back empty-handed. Or he would only buy some of the cheapest pickled vegetables and the steamed buns. And the quantity was very small, only enough for them to eat one meal. My husband and the in-laws were very dissatisfied. You can't even feed a pig this little. Are you trying to starve us to death? He pretended to be very wronged. The temperature has suddenly dropped, and the prices have risen sharply. A head of cabbage now costs 100 yuan. 100 yuan can buy several lottery tickets. What a waste if we spend it all on groceries. When my father-in-law heard this, he was very happy. If you buy a head of cabbage, it's gone after you eat it. But if you buy a lottery ticket, you might win the grand prize. My father-in-law transferred another 100 yuan to me, and he asked me to buy him a few more lottery tickets tomorrow. He gladly accepted. My mother-in-law and the husband had no more choice. They could only take out the food he had previously stored. Eating pickled vegetables, and he drinking tin porridge. He used to be a hoarder, and he liked to be frugal. The refrigerator at home was always full. But now he deliberately didn't buy new food, so they could only consume their stored food. Sure enough, after 2 days, the once full refrigerator was half empty. On the 4th day, the snow stopped, but the temperature dropped to -10 degrees, especially at night. So it was a heavy rain. The next day, the rainwater froze the entire city's streets and the roads. And the outer walls of the community were all frozen. People began to panic, because after the traffic stopped, all supplies were in short supply. On the 5th day, the temperature was close to -50 degrees. Prices had soared 10-fold. The prices of food, drinking water, and the clothing and the other key supplies had even risen 100-fold. The community started the heating system early, but the heating costs were high. The family savings were far from enough. It used to cost only a few thousand yuan, but now it costs tens of thousands. If you don't turn on the heat, you'll freeze to death. The family savings are all in fixed deposits, so they can't be withdrawn for now. My husband and the father-in-law turned their attention to my mother-in-law helplessly. My mother-in-law had to reluctantly sell all her jewelry to pay the heating bill. Gradually, due to the extremely low temperature, some pipes and the lines were damaged, and the power outages occurred. The community announced that the elevators would be out of service after 6 p.m. and that everyone would have to take the stairs from now on. And my in-laws lived on the 34th floor. This was simply a nightmare. Just then, there was a knock on the door. It was our beautiful neighbor next door, Xiaoya. She and my husband grew up together. They were considered childhood sweethearts. Xiaoya had always wanted to find a rich man, so she did get together with my husband a few years ago. Later, her rich businessman boyfriend went bankrupt, and she remembered my husband. For the past 2 years, she had been flirting with him. My husband also took good care of her. He would give her anything good first. Sister-in-law, we're out of food at my house. My mom is old and has no more savings. Can he borrow some food from your house? As soon as my husband saw Xiaoya, he had no more principles. He ignored the pitifully small amount of supplies in the refrigerator, and he unhesitatingly took out 2 heads of cabbage, and some rice and flour to give to Xiaoya. My mother stood by, her eyes blinking with heartache, signaling him not to do it. But my husband wouldn't listen. When my in-laws saw that they couldn't persuade him, they turned to glare at my husband. Prices are rising so fast right now. We need to be more frugal. Xiaoya, if you don't have any food at home, you should just eat less. Consider it a diet. When Xiaoya heard this, tears immediately filled her eyes. Brother, sister-in-law, I'm sorry. You know you despise me. Old hag, don't talk nonsense. I'm the one who calls the shots in this family. It's not your place to interfere. Xiaoya, she's just jealous of you. You're so beautiful. How can you go hungry? He then poured her half a pot of oil. Xiaoya left with a smile, saying that she would definitely pay us back when she got her salary next month. As soon as the door closed, my husband impatiently criticized me. Old hag, who told you to interrupt just now? He lost so much face. My in-laws also changed their tune. That's life. She's just a little kid. She's so filial. She only asked for things for her parents. Look how good Xiaoya's figure is. She'll definitely be able to have a son in the future, unlike you, who hasn't even had a child after 2 years of marriage. He was heartbroken after hearing this. He knew he had to leave. My last bit of affection for them had long been exhausted. What now? You gave the food to Xiaoya. Our family will soon have nothing to eat. The only way to make money now is to buy a lottery ticket. Father-in-law, why don't you write down a few more lottery numbers? My father-in-law's eyes lit up when he heard this. He was very confident in the lottery numbers he had written. He closed his eyes and he wrote down a few strings of numbers based on his gut feeling. He laughed and he asked, then who will go and buy the lottery ticket? It's too cold outside. You'll freeze to death if you go out. After hearing this, my mother-in-law's eyes darted around. You're young now. You're the most useless person in the family. If it's not you, who else could it be? As she said this, my husband had already pushed me to the door. Stop dawdling. Just go if you're told to go. Then, with a bang, the door behind me closed mercilessly, and he finally let out a long sigh of relief. My old self is gone. He checked my phone and the backpack. In the bag were all the keys to the basement. And my old man cat. Before the elevator was out of service, he took the elevator down, all the way to the basement. As soon as he got out of the elevator, the power went down. This meant that no one would be coming to the basement anymore. He used the key to open the insulated room. Once inside, he was overjoyed. He had already turned on the fresh air and the heating system on my phone beforehand. As soon as he entered the room, a warm breeze blew over me. This long-lost warmth made me want to cry. In my previous life, he died in this very room. Lonely and helpless. I don't understand why they treated me this way. Just because my parents died early, I became an orphan in their eyes. When we got married, although my parents had already passed away, they left me a small, awed, and sold the apartment and gathered a dowry. And that's how we bought the semi-basement. Thinking back now, my choice back then was really wise. At my in-laws' house, I had been eating pickled vegetables and thin porridge for several days in a row. My mouth was bland and tasteless as a native of Sichuan. It was torture. He immediately took out a box of self-heating hot pot. In a short while, the entire room was filled with the aroma of hot pot. Instantly, he was filled with happiness. At the dining table, he ate hot pot gracefully. And he even made myself a glass of fresh fruit juice. Of course, serhat tiba electronic because to the surveillance camera on the 34th floor. Before he had already installed a surveillance camera in the living room. Everything my in-laws and the husband did was under my watch. After the elevator stopped working, the property management sent out a notice in the group chat. Number one cared about me. My mother-in-law even said gloatingly, "It's good that the elevator stopped working, that money-losing baggage won't be able to take the elevator back. That stinky woman will have to climb up 34 floors step by step. It would be best if she died of exhaustion." But when it got that, he still hadn't returned. My husband's stomach was growling with hunger. Andy complained about why dinner wasn't ready when he wasn't at home. My mother-in-law didn't realize my value. Now that he was gone, the task of cooking would undoubtedly fall on her. Soon, my father-in-law also urged, "You old hag, your daughter-in-law is not here. Why aren't you cooking yet? Are you trying to starve us to death?" My mother-in-law had no more choice but to go to the kitchen, but they were not frugal. After one meal, the refrigerator was much emptier, and they were even proud of it. There's still half a pork knuckle in the fridge. Let's eat it quickly. And hide it from the black-hearted daughter-in-law. After we eat it, when she comes back, there will only be a few bones left for her to gnaw on. They didn't know that what was left in the refrigerator was all worthless, rotten vegetables, and the pork knuckle was the last piece of meat in the house. They had lent all the rice, flour, and the oil to Xiaoya. Pork knuckle was their last supper. After dinner, he still hadn't returned. My father-in-law finally remembered his lottery ticket. Why isn't the money-losing baggage back yet? Could it be that she won the lottery and he wants to keep it all for herself? He found it amusing. He still had some brains. He did win the lottery. But unfortunately, the money had long been deposited into my card. My husband was looking down at his phone, chatting animatedly with Xiaoya from next door. After being interrupted by his father, was very reluctant. In order not to let the family's lottery ticket slip away, he still gave me a call. When he answered the phone, he was enjoying a delicious fruit salad when my husband heard me eating on the phone. He became furious. "You old hag. What are you doing? Our whole family is starving. And you're outside eating secretly. Where are you and what are you eating?" He quickly replied in a pitiful voice, "Honey, I'm at the shelter outside right now, gnawing on a dry steamed bun, and drinking ice water. I'm freezing to death." "What did you say? You're at a shelter?" "Yes, he encountered a storm when he went out. The road is blocked, and he can't go back. Fortunately, he came across a relief supplies point. There's a lot of food here. Sold out of vegetables, meat, eggs. The people at the shelter side that when the snow melts in a couple of days, they will drive me back. They will also distribute supplies door to door, so I'm not willing to eat. I'm saving it all for you." My husband had the phone on speaker, and my in-laws also heard what he said. They were overjoyed. My in-laws cheered, "We're saved." He knew the community wouldn't abandon us. Great. We don't have to be so frugal anymore. They're so naive. If there was a shelter, why wouldn't the property management inform everyone? And none of them thought of coming out to find me, to bring me back. They only thought of thing but Andy doing nothing, waiting for me to bring the supplies back. How cold-blooded. "Honey, my phone's about to die. You have to queue up to charge it. I'll hang up now." After he said that, he hung up the phone. Then he turned off my phone for 3 whole days and nights. He had a very relaxing 3 days. In the morning, he made myself a cake, and he drank milk. At noon, while admiring the frozen world outside, he ate a steaming hot pot, beef rolls, lamb rolls, shrimp paste, yellow throat, and the beef tripe. At night, he tried to save electricity as much as possible. So he ate sashimi, salmon, 3 meals a day. Living such a simple life every day. While eating, he would turn on my computer, and he watched the movies and the TV series he had previously followed the characters in the anime. And he experienced their joys and the sorrows, which also gave me emotional satisfaction. Of course, after all this eating, drinking, and playing my favorite program to watch was still my in-laws' family on the 34th floor. Now, in order to save electricity, each household only has intermittent power supply. Only 3 days had passed, and the house was already in chaos. They knew we had food and drink at the shelter. And in a few days, relief supplies would be sent to them, so they completely let themselves go. being extravagant and wasteful, eating and drinking to their heart's content. The refrigerator was empty. So there were only a few rotten vegetable leaves left in the house. Just at this time, Xiaoya from next door came to borrow vegetables again. If she borrowed any more, the whole family would really have to drink the Northwest wine. My in-laws stopped pretending. Andy said bluntly that they couldn't, but Xiaoya's eyes were red. Andy, she asked my husband in a sweet and coquettish voice. Bitter. Well, can we talk alone? Only if I'm full. Can he agree on your family line? The implication was too obvious. My husband's eyes lit up when he heard this. He walked over and put his arm around Xiaoya's waist. He couldn't help but curse. What a scumbag. After Xiaoya left, the food in the house was completely gone. They finally panicked. My in-laws started asking for help in the community group chat. But who had any extra food? Unexpectedly, my mother-in-law thought of me at this time. She cursed that money-losing baggage went to the shelter. Why hasn't she sent us any food yet? My father-in-law was also very angry. If it weren't for her, would we have finished the food in the refrigerator so quickly? After eating it, my husband furiously started a video call with me. He answered almost instantly. In the video, he was using a special grill to enjoy a delicious barbecue. On the grill were sizzling steaks, lamb chops, and fresh shrimp. He deliberately adjusted the angle so they could see clearly. The three of them stared, their eyes wide. Saliva. He could feel my husband yelling through the screen. What are you? Andy, you're eating so well. I'm starving to death. Inawarot F minus 70 degrees. Eating barbecue by the fire. How warm and happy it is. I've always been at the shelter. If you don't believe me, come Andy, do you dare to go out? As he sighed that, he was about to hang up the phone. They immediately panicked. My mother-in-law took the lead and begged me, "Daughter-in-law, send us some food." Alright, the three of you kowtow to me, and I'll consider it. One day, you want me to kowtow? My father-in-law and husband, two grown men, were instantly furious. And your God. Andy, you're making me kneel to you? Who would have known that my mother-in-law, for the sake would immediately kneel down with what time is it? Who cares about face? My father-in-law and the husband looked at each other. The next second, they could only reluctantly kneel down. A man's knees are precious. Not in this case. He watched this farce with a smile. Well done. Unfortunately, he still can't give you any food. You money-losing baggage, you lied to us. Yes, you were the ones who wanted to believe it. You can't blame me. In my past life, when he was about to freeze to death, he called my husband and he begged him to save me. Did he ever have any pity for me? So now, why should he be a saint and he forgive them? After he hung up the video call, he continued to enjoy my barbecue feast. Meanwhile, on the surveillance footage from the 34th, the three of them were acting like they had gone mad. My husband was shaking with anger. This money-losing baggage is definitely not at some shelter. My father-in-law also came to his senses. The lobster she was eating. Andy, the steak. Where would a shelter get that? She lied to us. She has food, but she won't give us any. My husband frantically dialed my number. But he had already turned off my phone. My father-in-law suddenly stood up. No more. We have to go find her. Just then, the doorbell rang. It was Xiaoya. Her face was pale. Andy, she had lost a lot of weight. Bitter. My parents froze to death this morning. We only have you now. Let me move in and live with you. My mother-in-law immediately exploded, firmly refusing, but he have nowhere else to go. Andy brought something with me. She took out 2 boxes of instant noodles from her bag. This is my last stash. He was originally going to save it for my parents. My father-in-law immediately changed his tune. Yeah, your parents in heaven would also want you to live well. Come in quickly, it's too cold outside. Although my mother-in-law was reluctant, she didn't say anything more for the sake of the instant noodles. The three of them surrounded the 2 boxes of instant noodles as if they were looking at a life-saving straw. How are we going to split these 2 boxes of noodles? Of course, we get 1 box. And Xiaoya gets 1 box. My husband sighed matter-of-factly. On what grounds? My mother-in-law was not convinced. We are a family. Xiaoya is an outsider. Xiaoya will be my wife in the future. Try calling her an outsider again. Yes, Yaya will give us a grandson in the future. She's much better than the useless woman who can't even have children. The 3 of them started cooking the instant noodles. The aroma made their mouths water. But 2 boxes of instant noodles for 4 people was still too little. Each person could only get a small half bowl. It wasn't enough to fill their stomachs. After eating the instant noodles, they were hungry again. No more. We have to find a way to find Jing Mingbing. She must be hiding somewhere. With food and drink. Yes, she couldn't have just disappeared into thin air. She must be somewhere nearby. Wait, you remember now. Doesn't our family have that basement? My husband was stunned. The basement? Right. The semi-basement that came with the house when we bought it. Could Jing Bingbing be hiding, sir? My mother-in-law suddenly perked up. You remember she's been going, sir, a lot lately. She said she was going to clean up the house. I bet that she was preparing for this all along. It's very likely. My father-in-law became excited that money-losing baggage. She had it all planned out. The four of them immediately perked up. They went out and he rushed towards the basement. When they reached the basement level, my husband rushed directly to the basement door. The door was locked. But through the crack in the door, a faint light could be seen. She's really in, sir. Open the door. Open the door for me. He was playing on my phone in the room. Hearing the knocking on the door, he couldn't help but sneer. It seems they still have some brains. You shameless thing. You're hiding in here enjoying yourself, while we're starving to death up, sir. My mother-in-law cried out. Daughter-in-law, we were wrong. Please open the door. Let's stop this all for us, a family. Xiaoya's voice was the gentlest. Sister-in-law, please have pity on us. My parents are dead. We only have you guys now. He slowly walked to the door. And he sighed through the door. So you still remember that we are a family. Hearing my voice, the four of them became excited. Hurry up and we have something to say. Whatever you have to say it like this. I'm not busy anyway. Daughter-in-law, we know we were wrong. It was our fault before. Now let's get through this difficult time together as a family. Do you remember what you said when he begged you last time? What did you say? My husband became impatient. What time is it? You're still dwelling on that. Hurry up and open the door. We're about to freeze and be starved to death. Then die. He sighed coldly. He turned and he walked to the dining table. And he began to enjoy my afternoon tea. The four people outside were still desperately knocking on the door and he crying. But he didn't want to listen to their nonsense anymore. He put on my noise-canceling headphones. And he chose up piece of light music. Time passed, minute by minute. The voices outside became weaker and weaker when he took off my headphones. It was already quiet outside the door. He looked at the monitor. All four of them were slumped on the ground. Their faces were purple. And their breathing was weak. In the -70-degree basement, it was a miracle they had lasted this long. My husband raised his head with his last bit of strength. And he looked towards the camera. His lips moved, as if he was saying, Jing Bingbing, I hate you. He turned on the microphone. What a coincidence. I hate you too. So, goodbye.